Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. We've been there from the start. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Proud fan since 1977.
Roof open, nice night here in downtown Toronto, 21 degrees as we get ready for the first game of the three-game series between the Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays, who have been a real pest for the Blue Jays this year. Tampa Bay 9-7 against the Jays so far this season. Here's the starting lineup for the Rays, and you talk about a guy who's hurt the Blue Jays. Nobody's done that more this year than Logan Forsythe, hitting over .450 against the Blue Jays on the season. Nick Franklin will get the start at short. He's been a hot hitter, a versatile guy, utility guy who's played 5 different positions. He's the shortstop tonight.
They will face Francisco Liriano, 26th start of the season. Last pitched against Tampa Bay back in 2012. Last pitched as a starter for the Blue Jays on August the 26th. That was against his former team, Minnesota. He also had a couple of relief appearances for the Blue Jays since then. 6 games since coming over to the Blue Jays. Liriano's 1-1 with a .438 earned run average.
And he's jumped out in front of Forsythe quickly. 0-2. The second baseman for the Rays overall, hitting .281 with 19 home runs on the season. The Rays have a lot of pop. You don't think of them as a team with a lot of power, but they're 5th in the American League in home runs with 194. But they're just 12th in the league in runs scored. As Forsythe, what else is new? Another base hit, now 24 for 52 against Blue Jay pitching this year.
Well, let's take a look at the defense for the Blue Jays. In the outfield, it's Upton, Pilar, and Michael Saunders from left to right. On the infield, Darwin Barney starts at third, Tulowitzki and Travis up the middle, and Encarnacion over at first, and Russell Martin doing the catching tonight. For Francisco Liriano, Darwin Barney making his 20th start at third base. Josh Donaldson has played 121 games at third. Barney has given Donaldson the day off and probably needs a chance to regroup a bit.
John Gibbons saying before the game that Donaldson is just kind of generally beat up right now. Some general soreness, so he'll be back in there tomorrow night. Barney gets the start tonight. Donaldson 0 for his last 23 as well. Here's Kevin Kiermaier, the center fielder for the Rays, hitting .249 with 11 homers. Great defensive player, a guy with a lot of speed, the reigning Gold Glove Award winner in center field in the American League. Kevin Pillar was a finalist for that award last year, but Kiermaier won it.
His game has ticked up just a little bit offensively since they moved him into that number 2 spot in the order.
Well, if you're a left-handed batter, you're going to see a lot of sliders from Francisco Liriano.
Tough call tonight for Liriano. The Rays have been hitting the ball all over the place. Kiermaier's got a tough job tonight. 2 strikes now against a tough lefty.
And a bouncing ball weakly hit to Encarnacion. They'll get the lead runner, and that's all on the fielder's choice.
Well, Edwin did a good job right there, taking his time, knowing full well they weren't going to double up Kiermaier. So he cleared the path, got a good angle at second base, and threw a strike to Tulowitzki to force the lead runner. Earlier on in the season, they've tried to rush balls with Kiermaier at the plate, and it never works. Go ahead and get the lead runner. Keep the double play in order.
Kiermaier is a threat to run. He's got 16 stolen bases on the season, been caught only twice. And here's Evan Longoria, the longtime Ray, kind of the face of the franchise for a number of years. 31 homers, 85 RBIs on the season, but struggling lately. He's really had a great year. He's got 35 doubles as well. But in his last 19 games, hitting just 173. So the Blue Jays hoping to capitalize on the fact that Longoria is in a bit of a rut right now. Runner at first, 1 out, just underway, top of the first here at Rogers Center, as Liriano misses just outside and he falls behind 2-0.
We were talking in the opening about Liriano jumping ahead and throwing first pitch strikes. When he does that, he generally has the ability to finish you off. His opponent's batting average is minuscule with the breaking ball.
Liner to right field. It'll be caught by Saunders for the second out. Kiermaier back to first.
Nice play by Saunders. He got a good break on that ball and a good read. Looked like it was going to be a base hit. Michael Saunders looks a little bit more natural in right field as that ball is going to slice to his glove side. Runs right through that to make the play.
So 2 down now for Brad Miller, the cleanup hitter for the Rays. Chases that slider, but it's 0-1. Miller's got some power, a career high 27 homers, never had more than 11 in a season before this year. He was playing first base tonight. Logan Morrison likely out for the season, suffered a wrist injury yesterday as he grounds one out to second. Travis on to first, and that's the inning. A good start for Francisco Liriano. The Blue Jays coming up in the bottom of the first. At Rogers Center after a nice first inning for Francisco Liriano. Let's take a look at the lineup that John Gibbons has written in there for tonight's game. Back at the top of the order again is Devin Travis, who's got some nice numbers against Jake Odorizzi, the starter tonight for the Rays, 5 for 9. And Darwin Barney again getting a start in place of Josh Donaldson at third. He's been swinging a hot bat over his last dozen games.
They will face the Tampa Bay starter tonight, Jake Odorizzi, who had his 6-game winning streak snapped in his last start. It's his first loss since July the 10th when he lost to the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. Just 4 innings pitched, 7 runs, all earned, tied his shortest start of the season, and also snapped a string of 20 straight starts of at least 5 innings pitched or longer for Jake Odorizzi. Numbers are pretty good on the year. 3-2 in 10 career starts / appearances versus the Blue Jays. 5th start this year versus Toronto.
And here's Travis working on an 8-game hitting streak, hitting .429 over that stretch. He'll be followed by Michael Saunders hitting in the 2 spot, and then Edwin Encarnacion. And Odorizzi catches the outside corner. Travis checking with home plate umpire DJ Rayburn to see if that's about as wide as the zone will get. And it's 1-1. You see an impressive run for Travis at the plate over his last 8 games as he fouls one off 1-2. Odorizzi 9-6 with a .386 ERA. And Buck, as you talked about a little bit earlier when we did a hit before the game, he's featuring some different stuff now than he did earlier in the season.
Well, he's made 10 starts in the second half. He's just using his fastball a little more effectively. That's a slider that missed, and early on he was a guy that pitched away, and he's only 26 years old. He's still learning how to pitch, but he's had a lot of success early on. See his numbers in 10 starts against the Blue Jays, but now he's effectively throwing fastballs for strikes on the inside part of the plate, putting both sides of the plate in the minds of the hitters.
You can see the outfield. They really shade Travis to the opposite field. I mean, dramatically so, as he hits a fly ball to the opposite field. Right down the right field line, and just in foul territory. The catch will be made for out number 1.
Take a look at the defense in support of Jake Odorizzi tonight. In the outfield, it's Mikey Matuk in left. Kevin Kiermaier, the Gold Glove center fielder out there, and Steve Souza Jr. He's got a strong arm, 8 assists. It's Longoria at third, Franklin and Forsythe up the middle. Brad Miller back at first base, 26 start at first. And Luke Maile doing the catching for Jake Odorizzi tonight. Nick Franklin, the super utility player. The Rays have used 6 different starting shortstops, and they most recently lost Matt Duffy to Achilles surgery. They acquired Duffy to play shortstop to finish up the season, and he is out for the season now.
Picked up Alexi Ramirez, who had been released by San Diego. He's appeared in a couple of games. Just another body for them to have to finish out the season. Here's Michael Saunders, and he drives the ball well. Deep straightaway center field. Kiermaier back, makes the catch a few feet in front of the fence.
I'll tell you, I don't know of a center fielder who gets as good a jump as Kevin Kiermaier and covers as much ground as Kiermaier. We just saw Jackie Bradley Jr. for the Boston Red Sox. He's a pretty good center fielder. Kevin Pillar is a pretty good center fielder, but this is the reigning Gold Glove winner. He just tracked that thing down, knew exactly where that ball was going to come down.
Be interesting to see with the time he's missed this year. Missed 48 games with an injury. Does he have enough time this year to maybe contend for that Gold Glove award again, or is that too few games really? Pillar will get some consideration. Bradley, as you mentioned, Trout, a lot of good center fielders in the American League.
Adam Jones, of course, he's been out. This is just the 86th start of the season for Kiermaier in center. That might cause problems for him in that department.
Encarnacion goes after a high fastball and he fouls it straight back. Look at these numbers. Now the 528, that was his final number of at-bats last year, but after the same number of at-bats now as at the end of last year, the same number of doubles and the same number of home runs.
Well, the big thing for Edwin is he's been healthy. The last few years here, he's had nagging injuries. He had a finger injury, he had a quad muscle injury a couple years ago out in Oakland. And it's funny because he didn't have any spring training. He didn't have an official at bat in spring training, and this has been his healthiest season of all.
RBIs are very close too compared to last year. I think he had 111 last year.
It was his career high.
Career high. Now he keeps adding to that. He's up to 115 now.
His career high in home runs is 42. He did that back in 2012. Full count. His home runs the last 5 years: 42, 36, 34, 39, and 39 again this year. Hit 2 yesterday. Bases empty, 2 down. Full count pitch on the way, and it's down and in, ball 4.
He has seen that a lot from pitchers in the AL East. They just won't give in to him. And everybody looks at his batting average with runners in scoring position, and it's low because they never give in to him in those situations.
How many times have we seen it this year where the first 2 batters go boom, boom, out, out. All of a sudden Encarnacion comes up and the pitcher starts to pitch around him and ends up walking him and then has a long inning.
Here's Jose Bautista batting in the cleanup spot again, DHing tonight, hitting .228, 17 home runs. And the breaking ball is just outside, ball 1. Since coming off the DL, Bautista's hitting .254 with a .360 on base percentage. He is still taking his walks. He has not had a lot of fun with Odorizzi in his career, just 2 for 22 lifetime. And he takes a strike, 1-1.
Well, obviously Tampa Bay sees Jose a lot, and they've had the opportunity to really work him over. He would love to hit one right there. He's got 17 homers so far.
You know what we saw when we were down in Tampa the last time these 2 teams matched up is the Ray pitchers tried to jam Jose with fastballs. They tried to pitch him in hard, and they tried to pitch the fastball up in that last series also.
Encarnacion a very short lead at first. The 1-2 on the way, and a little bit high to Bautista to even it up at 2-2.
I think the Rays have one of the best pitching coaches in baseball as far as preparing the young starters for a matchup. He'll really look at the video, Jim Hickey with the manager Kevin Cash, and Hickey's got a good man to converse with. Cash, a former catcher.
Strike 3 called on the outside corner to ring up Bautista and end the inning. No score through 1.
today, I had a chance to speak with bullpen coach Dane Johnson and asked him whether there's a little bit of concern that Liriano would come out tonight too strong, considering there's so much time in between starts. Johnson told me it's up to Liriano to have a good warm-up. He'll throw as many pitches in order to get to his comfort level. Johnson is not at all concerned that Liriano's off his regular routine, having made 2 relief appearances in between these starts. Now, as for how Johnson will know Liriano's on point tonight, he told me he'll be watching all 3 of his pitches, fastball, that devastating slider, and changeup. When Liriano's locked in, he's got good depth on his sinker, he's pounding the zone and forcing contact early in counts, Dan. That's when he'll know that Liriano's on point.
All right, Hazel, thank you. And Liriano's an important guy. They're going to skip Aaron Sanchez next time around because of that blister issue, so Liriano's going to get another start in the series out in Anaheim coming up at the beginning of the road trip, as that pitch is lined to short and Nick Franklin's retired on 1 pitch. R.A. Dickey will also get a start in the series against the Angels. Again, with Sanchez being skipped, they need the other 5 guys. But after that, assuming, and there's Sanchez checking out that finger and that blister right now as if he's listening to us. After that, assuming Aaron's okay to go back into the rotation, you figure one of Dickey, and there's Dickey down to the bullpen tonight, one of Dickey or Liriano is coming out of the rotation for the last 10 days or so.
Yeah, you'd think so. And the way things look, it's just going to be who pitches well. And so far, Tampa Bay has played right into Liriano's hand. They're not really patient with him. Nick Franklin is wrong at the first pitch, and boy, if he has them do that all night, he should have a good night.
If he's throwing strikes, if he's around the plate, absolutely. We got a quick shot of R.A. Dickey down in the bullpen. He's going to pitch out of the bullpen in this series. John Gibbons was talking about that today. Good change up right there by Liriano. But if you are a pitcher, if you're Francisco Liriano, you have a couple of good starts, you're not going to come out of the lineup.
Yeah. So Dickey is available in the bullpen, and in terms of what kind of a situation would lead to Dickey coming in out of the bullpen, you would have to think it's a starter out early. You know, if he were to come in the 3rd or 4th inning in that kind of a game, although John Gibbons mentioned, well, that's kind of a Scott Feldman role, could be an extra innings game when, or if other guys are used up, he's available. But again, Dickey is going to get a start at some point in the Anaheim series.
Well, there's another batter swinging at the first pitch, a borderline pitch, and they're playing right into Liriano's hand. I mean, everybody knows that that's been his weakness throughout his career, the ability to throw strikes. And if you swing at pitches that are borderline, he's going to have a good night.
But don't they have that reputation, Tampa Bay Rays, of swinging early in the count?
They changed it last year in the second half of the season.
Right.
And now they've changed their hitting coach.
Well, Liriano pitching against these guys, this is a more favorable matchup for Liriano than Francisco pitching against the Boston Red Sox.
No question about it. Boston very patient. There's Chad Mottola next to Kevin Cash. Mottola, former Blue Jay, is now the hitting coach. They replaced Derek Shelton.
Boy, what a good couple of innings for Liriano. Just retired the side on 8 pitches, including a couple of strikeouts.
Live on your phone and tablet with the MLB.com at-bat app. Customize at-bat to feature the Blue Jays and stay up to the moment at any moment with scores, news, live game video highlights, and much more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Dan.
Hazel, thank you. To the bottom of the second at Rogers Center. No score between the Rays and the Blue Jays. We'll keep you updated, of course, on the other games of significance, and there are many of them, as Russell Martin leads off the inning against Jake Odorizzi, who didn't land very comfortably, and as a result that ball went sailing into the other batter's box. In the bottom of the first, the Red Sox already have a 2-0 lead on the Orioles, where that Boston offense is relentless. Mookie Betts has doubled in a run. Hanley Ramirez has singled in a run. It's Wade Miley for the Orioles and David Price for the Red Sox. The Yankees, meanwhile, they're the one team in the division that's playing out of the division tonight. They're hosting the Dodgers, and at the top of the second, the Dodgers lead the Yankees 1-0.
There's still no outs at Fenway Park. First inning and no outs.
Ground ball down to third off the bat of Martin. Longoria up with it. Don't they remind you of the Blue Jay offense from last season?
Yeah, they're a lot alike, and they are relentless, and there are so many good hitters up and down the order. And like the Blue Jays from a year ago, they pass the baton. First guy doesn't get a good pitch, he'll take the walk. Next guy get a double, next guy get a double, and they've done a great job.
Well, they just passed the baton, and now it's 4-0.
Their #9 hitter yesterday, Jackie Bradley Jr. has got 24 home runs.
Right. And had a 29-game hitting streak earlier this season.
That's their #9 hitter.
Yeah. They're scoring so quickly they can't even keep up with the updates online as Troy Tulowitzki fouls one back. Blue Jays are 2 games back of the Red Sox, as are the Orioles. The Blue Jays and Orioles both 2 out of the division lead, and Toronto and Baltimore are the 2 wild card teams right now, with the Yankees and Detroit both 2 games back. We mentioned that the Yankees are trailing the Dodgers 1-0. The Tigers have an early 1-0 lead on the Twins. Tulowitzki with a chopper toward third. Charging is Longoria, and in plenty of time to get him 2 down.
Save during the plumbing, heating, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
No score here in the bottom of the second. Let me back up on that Red Sox game a bit. It wasn't an RBI double for Betts and an RBI single for Ramirez. It was a 2-run double for Betts and a 2-run single for Hanley Ramirez. And that's how Boston has a 4-0 lead. Betts now has 104 RBIs and Ramirez has 95. Here's Kevin Pillar. Ceremony before the game today. Pillar was named, we knew about this earlier, but the ceremony was today. He was named the Blue Jays nominee for the 2016 Roberto Clemente Award, which is a very prestigious award in Major League Baseball. It's given to a player who best represents the game of baseball through extraordinary character, community involvement, philanthropy, and positive contributions both on and off the field. And Pillar certainly fits that bill. He does a ton in the community. Rips a ball to deep right center field. Well struck off the base of the wall. And Pillar is on his way to second with a double.
It's a matter of time till Kevin Pillar starts swinging it again. 32nd double of the season for Pillar, and his at-bats have been better because he's been using the whole field. This time he drives the ball to right center. Nobody's going to catch that one as it bangs up against the wall. When he's using the whole field and staying aggressive, staying through the baseball, he's got some pop in that bat.
So a 2-out double here in the bottom of the second. And the batter is Melvin Upton Jr. playing left field, hitting .211 as a Blue Jay with 4 home runs. Again, the defense for the Rays, slight pull on the infield and a pretty significant play to the opposite field in the outfield. The center fielder Kiermaier well over towards right center field, and you can see how big that gap is in left center.
What does that tell you? That they're going to try and pound him with fastballs and up. They don't think that Melvin Upton can get around on the fastball from Odorizzi, so anything in the air, they think he's going to hit it to right field. Off speed, that's why the infield is pulled around. Off speed pitch, they think he's going to pull it, but it's going to be on the ground.
Outside. Odorizzi, part of a young Rays rotation. They've dealt with some injuries this year, but they got a lot of talent and a lot of people back next year. Disappointing season for Tampa Bay on a number of fronts this year. They don't like the term spoiler, but that's what they're trying to do right now, because almost every series for them, Buck, is against a contending team in the American League East.
Yeah, if you don't like the term spoiler, play better. And that's where they haven't played well. They had Cobb out for most of the season. He's back. He'll pitch on Wednesday afternoon here, and the Blue Jays saw him in his return to the rotation. But they have a lot of good pieces. The man on the far left is Blake Snell, the youngster. Chris Archer, of course, the veteran. But they've got a promising pitching staff.
Saw an article today about that. They said we don't want to be called spoilers, but we do want to get ready for next year. We're not going to win this year, so maybe we can set the tone for 2017 with the way we play here the last few weeks of 2016. They got a nice starting staff to build around, I'll tell you that.
3-2 to Upton. Breaking ball, a swing and a miss, and that's the inning. A 2-out double by Pilar, but nothing more. No score at the end of 2.
Chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are guests of TD. And fans, don't forget the World Cup of Hockey pre-tournament edition continues tomorrow from Washington, D.C. Finland and the USA catch all the action at 6:30 Eastern only on Sportsnet 1.
Looking forward to that. This thing is gaining steam in the games. Of course, all the actual tournament games will be played in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre. 8 teams. And Team Canada probably considered to be the favorites, but Team USA very strong. And that young Guns team, huh?
That's the team everybody's talking about because they're so fast, and everybody thinks they might be the surprise team in this tournament.
Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews, Morgan Riley among the players on that team. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it should be a good tournament.
Here's Richie Schaefer. He's the DH, former first-round pick of the Rays back in 2012. He was their minor league player of the year last year. Didn't have as good a season this year. And in fact, hit only .227 this year with 11 home runs. Hit under 170 after the All-Star break, but still got a September call-up. And Liriano gets him with a sharp slider. That's 3 consecutive strikeouts for Francisco Liriano.
Well, when the fastball is in the strike zone and he's using his changeup and that devastating slider, you're going to have high strikeout games for Liriano. That's where you want to throw it, right there with 2 strikes to a right-handed batter. Get it underneath that bat with the slider. That's 3 in a row for Liriano.
Here's the catcher, Luke Maile, the number 9 hitter for the Rays. As meanwhile at Fenway Park, the Red Sox have added another run. Sandy Leon with a sacrifice fly. It is 5-0 Boston over Baltimore at the end of an inning. Maley with a fly ball to right center, fairly deep, but playable for Saunders. 2 down.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Rogers 4K TV. Get closer to the action with 4 times the resolution of HD alone.
So far, so good for Francisco Liriano. He gave up a leadoff base hit to the man in the batter's box right now, Logan Forsythe. Since then, has retired 8 in a row and has really managed his pitches. He has been in the strike zone. That's just his 27th pitch of the game, and 21 of them have been strikes.
Yeah, and that's going to be a great formula for anybody. I don't care who you are, as long as you're pitching ahead, you've got a much better chance to get swings from the batters. You know, the thing about Liriano is this is his 253rd career start. It's not like he's a kid out there and he went out and pitched in the bullpen a couple of times. He knows exactly what he has to do to be successful.
We saw him a couple of times on the just completed road trip. One time against Tampa Bay. I think he faced 3 batters, didn't get anybody out. Then we saw him again in New York, and he was sterling for 2 innings.
Came out with a slight back issue and hasn't pitched since. That was a week ago. But this is the Liriano that has tantalized so many teams over the course of his career, because his good is really good. As he gets a ground ball left side, Barney lets it go to Tulowitzki, who makes the play, and that's the inning. The Rays go in order again to the bottom of the 3rd. No score at Rogers Center.
...2017 season ticket memberships. Season ticket member benefits include access to season ticket member exclusive events and enrollment in My Blue Jays member program. Visit bluejays.com/season tickets. Dan.
Hazel, thank you. Bottom of the 3rd, no score between the Rays and the Blue Jays. We gave you the update from Fenway, where the Red Sox lead the Orioles 5-0. An update from Yankee Stadium, where the Dodgers are now out to a 4-0 lead on the Yankees. Brian Mitchell's on the mound for the Yankees tonight. He pitched well against the Blue Jays when they saw him last week.
He sure did. He broke his toe in spring training and had surgery, missed the entire season until that start.
Here's Darwin Barney. So yeah, the Red Sox and the Orioles matter, but so do the Yankees, so do the Tigers, and maybe even the Astros and the Mariners and the Royals. You can't count any of them out right now. Barney with a fly ball to center field, and Kiermaier hardly has to move to make the grab 1 down.
You know, most of us were critical when we heard the wild card, and then we said, well, 2 wild cards is certainly not going to be any better, but it certainly has made a pennant race out of a lot of teams. When you look at the AL East, Toronto, Baltimore, 2 back of Boston, the Yankees just 4 back, but the added layer of wild card teams has really created a lot of interest for everybody.
And it's made baseball great in cities that normally might be out of pennant race. Hey, we still have a chance to get into the playoffs. And how about the success of the wild card teams over the years?
Giants, Angels, Marlins have all won World Series being wild card teams. I think the Red Sox were once as well,
yeah,
right?
And they're playing for their life, just for a chance to get in the postseason. And then the teams that win oftentimes have to wait a few extra days before they start their series.
Lose some of that momentum where the other guys, their backs are against the wall. It's do or die every single day. You learn to adapt to that pressure. In fact, you embrace that kind of pressure the last couple weeks of the season.
Well, every game you come to the ballpark is a can't lose situation. It's a pretty good way to keep your focus.
So the Blue Jays have a chance playing Tampa Bay and the Angels, not to assume anything but they're teams that are not in the race. But if they can play well against these teams, with so many other contenders going head to head, they'll make up ground on somebody. They've really got a golden opportunity
if they win. And here's another thing that you can think about. After this series, the Blue Jays go out west, and they're going to know the results of what happened on the East Coast. So let's say the Boston Red Sox lose. The Blue Jays, before they even throw a pitch, will know that. There's some added incentive right there. Hey guys, did you just see the Red Sox lost? Let's go. Let's pick it up. Or if you see the teams ahead of them win, they say, hey, we need to win tonight. And it's just that heightened excitement and that heightened focus that the players will have being out on the West Coast. So that might not be a bad thing for the Blue Jays.
Devin Travis battling Jake Odorizzi, the count 1-2. And he chases the curveball in the dirt. Throw down to first, 2 down. And the third strikeout of the night for Odorizzi. The Orioles have a run on the board. Chris Davis has homered off David Price. 37th of the season for Davis. Red Sox 5, Orioles 1, going to the bottom of the second.
Is it time to start looking at the scoreboard, or is it still too early? What do you think?
I think it's too early. I think if you pay attention to what you're doing, you don't really have to worry about anything, because right now the Blue Jays have a playoff berth in a wild card situation. But I think if you win, you just pay attention to what you're doing, and then after the game you can check it out. But I think it's too easily distracting. I think you can just get overwhelmed with what's going on. Hey, Boston's winning, we got to win. You know, don't worry about that.
You mean as the players, not the fans?
As the players. Yeah. Oh, fans can do it as much as they want.
Here's Saunders.
It's that, and I hate using cliches, hate it, but it's the one game at a time thing. Let's worry about today, and let's win today, and not worry about tomorrow, who's pitching or what. Let's win today, and then take care of tomorrow when it happens.
Saunders hit a fly ball to deep center his first time up. Playing right field, batting in the 2 spot tonight with Josh Donaldson not in the lineup for the Blue Jays tonight. 1-1 fastball, a little bit up and in for ball 2. The Rays are the only team in the American League East the Blue Jays have a losing record against this year. As Saunders lines one to left center field, and it will get down, split the outfielders up against the wall on a bounce, and it's a 2-out double for Michael Saunders.
Now John Gibbons moves Saunders up into the 2 spot in the lineup, and it pays dividends with this 2-out double, and now that's going to get one of the big RBI guys to the plate with a chance to get the Blue Jays on the board.
He says he moved him up there not necessarily to kickstart him and get his bat going, but he really wanted to break up some of the right-handers that the Blue Jays can throw out there. Travis and Encarnacion, Donaldson, Martin, Barney, Upton. He wanted to break that right-handed lineup up with the lefty Michael Saunders.
Runner at second, 2 down for Encarnacion, who walked his first time up. Do you think the Rays are careful here with Encarnacion with a base open and Bautista behind him, with Encarnacion hitting as well as he is right now?
Like he's got TNT in his back pocket.
So that's a yes?
Yeah, that's a yes.
They might even put the hand out and intentionally walking.
Yeah, they're not going to give in to him. He's not going to get much to hit, and if he does, it's a mistake.
Fastball runs inside, ball 2.
Edwin understands that too, and he's not going to force the issue. He's been so good at laying off those borderline pitches and trying to wait out the pitcher to force him into a mistake.
Inside again, 3-0.
He hit
Tell you what, Odorizzi's doing a good job of keeping it off the plate.
Yeah, I thought he'd go away because those last two pitchers have been in.
That's the difference in Odorizzi in the second half of the season. He's got more confidence pitching inside.
Will Edwin take a shot at one if it's a strike here on 3-0?
If it's a strike, he's swinging.
He took one. A changeup for a strike, 3-1. So he wouldn't throw him a 3-0 fastball.
No, would you?
Because he knew he might be swinging. (3-1) on the way. Huge rip, and the bat goes flying. Hazel, you okay?
I'm good. Thank you, Dad. I just saw my light flash in front of me, but thank you.
Good thing Ace was down there to protect you.
Get that bat back for Edwin. That bat is hot. Hit a couple of home runs yesterday with it.
Hopefully everybody okay as that bat went flying over the camera bay on the third base side. Man. 3-2. Hopped up back of second. Forsythe drifting back and makes the catch. And Odorizzi gets out of it. No score at the end of 3. Here comes the ultimate cleanup crew, brought to you by Home Hardware's exclusive line of the ultimate hard-hitting and tough-on-grime cleaning products. Jays tomorrow night. Left-hander Drew Smiley taking on Marcus Stroman. Then note the time Wednesday. It's a day game. Blue Jays Central at noon. First pitch 12:37 locally here in Toronto. Alex Cobb, very good pitcher, back off the DL, has recovered from Tommy John surgery. Marco Estrada will be on the mound for the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays later Wednesday will fly west and begin a 7-game West Coast swing. 4 against the Angels and then 3 against the Mariners. And then they come back home, Yankees and Orioles. Then they go to Boston, and that's it. 20 games left, including tonight.
There's certainly plenty of games left. You make up the ground. They trail Boston by 2, and you don't have to get really all upset by the fact you're running out of games. You just have to play well. Put a streak together. Blue Jays haven't had a streak.
No.
Longest win streak this season has been 7 games. Last year they had 2 11-game win streaks.
Two 11-game win streaks. Blue Jays haven't come close to that.
Fly ball to right field, takes Saunders back, but he's got a room shy of the track, and Kiermaier is retired for out number 1.
Look what a good, just one good winning streak will do for you late in the season. Look what the Yankees have done with their 7-game win streak.
I don't think we have ever seen a better example of that than the 2007 Colorado Rockies. They won 21 games in September and played themselves into the World Series. You get hot at the right time, and it'll do a lot to propel you deep into the postseason.
Liriano lost his footing, but he still threw a strike. There's a guy who was part of the 2007 Rockies.
Yeah, he sure was. And the Rockies just had kind of an up and down season. Nobody really paid much attention to them until they got to September, and it had that great run in September. Then they had that game 163 against San Diego. And I think it was, what, 15 innings, and Jamie Carroll got a hit, a sac fly. Matt Holliday, they still haven't called him safer out, sliding in head first at home.
That was 10 years ago.
And then they swept the division series. I want to say Philadelphia. Then they swept the NLCS over Arizona, but then they ran into the Red Sox and they got swept in the World Series. But they won 21 out of 22 games between the regular season and the postseason that year. Remember the Marlins in 2003? They weren't really a factor until late in the season. Won the World Series. You know,
I talked to Tulowitzki about that game 163 the other day. We were talking about the Red Sox, the importance of that series. He said, you know, I don't think there's ever a game as important as a game that could eliminate you from the postseason. And that's what they were in against San Diego in that game 163 in Colorado in 2007.
Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 4 for Liriano as we check in with Jamie Campbell. He has had a remarkable second half. 40 home runs for his second baseman. So Encarnacion has 39. Trumbo leads the league with 41. Dozier's got 40, and Encarnacion now third with 39. Here's Brad Miller. He's got 27.
Brad Miller, with 11 home runs last season, jumped his numbers up dramatically to 27. And Tampa Bay is not really a bandbox. It's kind of a legitimate ballpark. But he has had a terrific season for home runs.
How about Liriano? A leadoff base hit in the first. 12 in a row set down since then.
Blue Jays. The Sportsnet app lets you stay up to date with the latest scores, breaking news, game highlights, and analysis of Canada's team. Plus, never miss a single pitch with our in-depth live game tracker, available on iOS and Android devices.
Thank you, Hazel. Bottom of the 4th inning, and a pitcher's duel between Francisco Liriano and Jake Odorizzi. No score in the game. The Rays with 1 hit, the Blue Jays with 2. Both Blue Jay hits doubles. As Bautista hits a ground ball to short on the first pitch this half inning and is retired for out number 1. Both Blue Jays hits doubles, but both came with 2 outs, and they were unable to come up with that 2-out base hit to drive in a run.
Jake Odorizzi is 26 years old. He was a first-round pick of the Milwaukee Brewers in 2008. Supplemental pick for the loss of Francisco Cordero. He's been involved with a couple of blockbuster trades. The first one included Zach Greinke coming from Kansas City. Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar, Jeremy Jeffress, and Jake Odorizzi. That's a haul.
That's good scouting right there by the Kansas City.
The next trade from Kansas City to Tampa Bay was also a haul. They picked up James Shields and Wade Davis. Tampa Bay got Patrick Leonard, Mike Montgomery, and Will Myers, along with Jake Odorizzi. So they've done some good deals in Kansas City.
And then Tampa Bay spun Myers, right? And they got Souza, and part of a 3-team deal.
Yeah, because Myers went to San Diego. Steven Souza came from Washington.
From Washington in a 3-team deal, but
I think Trey Turner was in that deal.
Yes, he was.
I think Trey Turner went from San Diego to Washington in that deal. That was the steal of that trade. That kid's good. There's Martin getting a ground ball out to Forsythe for out number 2.
A lot has changed in 40 years, but one thing hasn't. Honda, proud fan since 1977, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
2 down, bottom of the 4th here at Rogers Center. Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Pat Tabler. No score between the Rays and Jays opening up this 3-game series as Troy Tulowitzki takes low, ball 1. Tulo with a grand slam yesterday, his 23rd home run of the season. What a moment that was in that crazy game that went back and forth a couple of times. And the real key for the Blue Jays was they just did not get enough in the middle innings from some of their relievers. And John Gibbons talked about it. He was hoping for 2 innings out of Joe Biagini. Then he could have gone Benoit, Grilli, Osuna. Didn't get that. So he had to make some moves. Brought Bo Schultz in eventually to face 2 righties. Was hoping to get a couple of outs there. 2 ground ball base hits. And then eventually the matchup was Benoit and Ortiz. And Big Papi did what Big Papi does.
Here in this ballpark.
Yeah.
He's done it too many times. Here's the problem, I think. Blue Jays didn't score from the 4th inning on. That's been the problem. The offense gets ahead. They'll score some runs early and then get shut down. Those add-on runs late in ball games.
Tulowitzki drives one to deep right field and caught up against the wall in right center by Souza. Still down on his hands and knees on the warning track as he crashed into the fence. Shows the balls. Slowly gets up and made a terrific catch. Gets a nice ovation here at Rogers Center, although he denied Tulowitzki. Terrific effort by Souza as Tulowitzki was bidding for an extra base hit. Right into the corner there where the angle changes and he paid the price, but appears to be okay, and that brings the inning to an end. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update here at Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. Still feeling the effects of running into that wall in right center, but he can smile about it because he caught the ball Fifth inning is underway. First pitch swinging. Nick Franklin. Ground ball to short. One down.
See, he must have heard us talking about him, that he came over in that 3-team trade. So he said, you know what, this is why they traded for me, because I'm a good defender along with some power. He gives up his body to make that catch against Tulowitzki. Tulo's been hitting the ball hard all over the ballpark. This time he is robbed by Souza, and you can see that one hurt. This is the same Steven Souza who saved a complete game no-hitter.
Jordan Zimmerman.
That's right.
He was playing left field and he dove away from the field, much like Yasiel Puig's catch in the Rich Hill game this week. Diving full out away from the infield to save a no-hitter. That was the final out of the game. Now, he's had some great catches, and that's right up there. He knocked the wind out of himself when he slammed into that wall.
Mikey Matuk chases in the dirt. No balls, 2 strikes. They are facing as good a Francisco Liriano, certainly as Blue Jays fans have seen. He's thrown 45 pitches, 33 for strikes. After a leadoff base hit, he's retired 13 in a row.
And that base hit, Dan, was on an 0-2 pitch.
Well, you saw the target from Russell Martin on that last pitch, and that's what's turned him around. He started using a 4-seam fastball. And that has been a pitch that he can get into the zone and creates these swings from Tampa Bay. Another strikeout as he hits Matuk on the slider.
Much like Marcus Stroman is starting to use the 4-seam fastball up in the strike zone. Liriano's doing the same thing. And what that does is that gives the hitter something else to think about. So then you go back down. You go up and you go down. You go sideways. North and south, east and west to try and get outs. And that pitch right there, a devastating slider.
And the numbers say that Liriano gets as many swings and misses on pitches out of the strike zone as just about any starting pitcher in baseball as Souza steps in. But in order to do that, he's got to get ahead. So they expand their strike zone, and he's done a great job of that tonight.
Well, he's thrown the ball very well, but it's also a very good matchup for him. As we mentioned, Tampa Bay started swinging at his borderline pitches early in this game, and they haven't been able to stop. But Liriano has really fed off of that, and he's thrown all of his pitches in the zone. Fastball, 2-seamer, 4-seamer, slider, and a changeup.
Yeah, I looked at some of the stats on him today. He has one of the highest whiff percentages at 28%, 6th best in Major League Baseball with his pitches. That's a minimum of 500 batters faced, so there's a track record that he can get lots of swings and misses.
And again, he is guaranteed to get another start because they're skipping Aaron Sanchez next time around. So both Liriano and Dickey figure to get a start in Anaheim. But as I think it was you, Tab, you said, if he keeps pitching like this, I mean,
yeah, he's guaranteed to pitch every 5 days.
Spins Souza out of there, 2-2. This spot in the rotation, if you go to the end of the season, it looks like it would line up in the second game of the Baltimore series, the Wednesday here at Rogers Center. It still looks like it would be Estrada, Happ, Sanchez. Now, a lot can change between now and then, but at the moment still looks like Estrada, Happ, Sanchez at Fenway to end the regular season.
Blue Jays just have one off day the rest of the way this season to jig that starting lineup.
Well, Liriano's working quickly too. Looks confident, and he's raring to go as soon as he gets the ball back from Martin.
That's generally a great sign for a catcher when a pitcher is standing on a rubber waiting for you to give the sign. It tells you that he feels great about what he's doing. Russell Martin was really excited when he'd heard about Liriano's trade and the acquisition of the lefty. They were teammates in Pittsburgh. And Russell said, this guy can compete. We get him in the strike zone. He can beat anybody on a given night. Martin and both Jason Grilli were in Pittsburgh with Liriano.
3-2 again, and he bounces one in as he issues his first walk of the ballgame.
This Blue Jays Rogers 4K broadcast is powered by the Samsung 4K SUHD TV.
A base runner for the Rays with 2 down here at the top of the 5th. No score here at Rogers Center with the roof peeled back on a very nice September night. The batter was Richie Schaefer, who struck out in his first at bat. He's the DH tonight, batting in the 8th spot. Runner is going, and the pitch is fouled off. Can't blame Kevin Cash for maybe wanting to put somebody in motion with the way that these two pitchers are going right
Nothing has happened tonight. There's only been 3 hits in the game, and Kevin Cash says, you know what, we can't sit back and wait for home runs. They hit 10 home runs in 4 games in New York, but 9 of them were solo home runs. So they figured, well, let's see if we can't create a gap on the infield by starting the runner.
And Souza's got a little bit of speed. He's got 7 stolen bases, but he's been thrown out 6 times. Get him in the scoring position, and he can score on a single. Doesn't have to score on an extra base hit.
Schaefer's not having any fun with Liriano in his 2 at-bats so far tonight.
Now he's seeing pitches that he hasn't seen before.
Yeah. Strikes him out for the 2nd time tonight. Number 6 on the night for Liriano. 5 shutout innings for the left-hander.
Orlando non-stop on WestJet. Doesn't that sound like a good time? You know it does. And for low WestJet fares and daily flights, you know you can book your getaway today at WestJet.com or call your travel agent.
Thank you, Hazel. They're having a good time at Rogers Center tonight on the WestJet flight deck. No score here in the game going to the bottom of the 5th. Pilar, Upton, and Barney. 7, 8, 9 in the Blue Jay lineup against Jake Odorizzi, who's making his 5th start of the season against the Blue Jays. So they're very familiar with him. He's had pretty good success against them this year. Very good success against them so far tonight. Pilar, who doubled his first time up, takes a strike to begin this inning.
There's that inside fastball for a strike, and you can pitch inside, and it won't really have an effect unless you throw strikes inside.
Check swing ground ball to the right side, and over in time to cover is Odorizzi for out number 1.
Blue Jays know all about Jake Odorizzi. You mentioned it's his 5th start of the season, and look at the numbers that he has put up against the Jays. A 235 earned run average, bonus batting average of 190. He throws hard, and he's got a slider. He's got a split finger changeup. Opponent's wrist 3 for 22 against Odorizzi, and he's found something here also by pitching inside, using that fastball in the inner part of the plate. Tough right-hander.
Melvin Upton Jr.
And it should be a good matchup because the Blue Jays have so many right-handed batters.
Upton struck out his first time up, one of 3 strikeouts on the night for Odorizzi. Red Sox up 6-1 on the Orioles. Bottom of the 3rd at Fenway. The Yankees are trailing the Dodgers now 6-1, mid-3rd at Yankee Stadium. And so if you're a Blue Jays fan, you look out in front, you see the Red Sox You look beside you, you see the Orioles. You look behind you, you see teams like the Yankees and the Tigers. They all matter. Tigers tied at 1 with Minnesota here in the 3rd.
So you got to win. You got to put something on the board.
Ground ball up the middle. Forsythe has it. Long throw is in time. What a play to get Upton.
I didn't think he had a chance, given the fact he gloved the ball on the shortstop side of second. Had to take 2 more steps before he could right himself and gain balance to make a throw. And then watch where he is when he makes the throw. He's on the shortstop side, 2 full steps over his shoulder on the money to Brad Miller.
And consider who was running up the first base line, a guy who can get up there. First of all, I didn't think he could get to the ball. Then I didn't think he'd be able to throw him out, but he got him by a half a step at first base. It's a heck of a play.
Now they got a good play from Steven Souza Jr. in right to end the 4th inning when he slammed up against the wall. And then the play right there by Forsythe was, this should be a piece of cake.
Barney with a ground ball, dug out at first by Miller. And it's an 8-pitch, 3-up, 3-down inning for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 5th. No score through 5.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new 2017 Ridgeline. A lot of things have changed, but one thing hasn't. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Proud fan since 1977.
Top 6 here at Rogers Center. No score between the Rays and the Blue Jays. Just 3 hits in the game, as you can see. 1 for Tampa Bay. That led off the ball game. 2 for the Blue Jays. Now Luke Maile. Another Tampa Bay batter swinging at the first pitch. How many times have we seen that tonight?
Yeah, and it's worked very well in Liriano's favor. And when he gets the ball around the plate, everybody knows what great stuff he has. It's explosive. People will talk about Liriano, and all 3 of his pitches grade out as top pitches. The fastball moves like crazy. Chad Mottola, the new hitting coach for the Rays, trying to figure out what he can tell his hitters to do to try to get to Liriano.
I don't think you can go up there and say, okay, start taking pitches, because that first pitch might be the best pitch that you see. That one's right down the middle.
Yep.
How do you take that one?
No, I agree with you, and he has been aggressive. The only hit, this man right here, Logan Forsythe, got a 2-strike base hit in the first inning.
This guy hits everything the Blue Jays have to offer this year.
24 for 53 on the season.
Most hits by any player against the Blue Jays. He's also hit 4 home runs. That's tied for the most home runs against the Blue Jays this season.
Again, Liriano working quickly. And the 1-1 check swing and a slider down, a low ball 2.
Boy, Liriano, what a story he has been over his career. Started with the Giants, signed as a non-drafted free agent. Then he was traded In another interesting trade from San Francisco with Boof Bonser and Joe Nathan to Minnesota for A.J. Pierzynski. Pierzynski lasted 1 year in San Francisco, and of course Nathan became a great closer, and Liriano a great starter.
Tulowitzki from deep short. The tag applied by Encarnacion for the second out.
That is a real rarity right there. Tulowitzki often throws from the side, but he throws it right on the bag. That time Encarnacion had to come off the base and put the tag on him.
He gets rid of it quickly to give Encarnacion a chance to come off the bag. Usually that thing's about chest high right at Encarnacion, but he gets rid of it quick enough. Edwin can come off the base and apply the tag. Forsythe hustling up the line, and Edwin just reaches back. A lot of times you see first basemen hit those runners like that and jam their wrist, or the ball pops out. Good play.
So 2 down in the inning, and here's Kevin Kiermaier. Like many of his teammates, 0 for 2 tonight. Right on the outside corner with the knees, a ball and a strike. And a chopper over the mound towards short. Tulowitzki again. Another 3-up, 3-down inning. Going bottom 6. Top of the order coming up for the Blue Jays. Devin Travis will lead it off, followed by Michael Saunders and then Edwin Encarnacion.
CA is your official shop for authentic Blue Jays memorabilia, game used jerseys, bats, baseballs, and more. Visit jshop.ca and click on Blue Jays Auction.
Top of the order coming up for the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the 6th at Rogers Center. Liriano and Odorizzi have been mowing him down. And Travis thinking about trying to bunt his way aboard. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Fly ball and a strikeout.
Tough to bunt on Evan Longoria, the Gold Glover at third base. That's where Devin was trying to put that one.
And maybe just trying to shake it up a little bit. Neither team can get anything going offensively. Travis will be followed by Saunders and Encarnacion. Lays off, a ball and a strike.
It's only been 6 guys reach base tonight.
Tampa Bay has not had a runner in scoring position tonight. The Blue Jays have had 2, but they both came with 2 outs, 1 in the second, 1 in the third.
You know, we were talking earlier about the outfield, how they play him to right field. They also played him very shallow in right field. He's got some pop in that bat that he can knock that ball over Steven Souza's head.
He's got 33 extra base hits, and he can drive the ball to the opposite field.
They had him perfectly played last time when he flew out to right field.
Tampa Bay leans heavily on analytics. and they have a lot of information that suggests they shouldn't let their starter face the lineup 3 times. I don't think Kevin Cash is leaning on analytics tonight. He's letting his eyes tell him what's going on.
Stealing.
Into left center. That's a base hit, maybe more. Travis on his way to second. And is safe at second and a head-first slide. And the Rays are going to have a look at it.
There's that power that we were just talking about. He's got extra base pop in that bat. And he crossed up the defense. We showed you how they were playing him to right center field. He's going to cross up the defense and pull the ball into the gap. It looked like an easy double, but you've got a lot of speed in that center field. Remember, we told you Kiermaier can run it down. He can also throw accurately to the shortstop, or excuse me, the second baseman, and then on to the shortstop. Let's see if Devin gets in there. He's in there.
Wow, is that close? I tell you what, it's a great tag by Franklin. Look where he takes his glove. Right to the base. He's not trying to find the base runner. He says the base runner's got to come to the base, so I'm going to go right to the base. It's a bang-bang play at second.
Looked like he tagged it right between his hands. Look at that.
Yeah, right hand on the bag before the tag came down on the left arm.
They're going to look at it,
and they are
though.
going to have a look at it. The Rays took a long time, to the point where DJ Rayburn, the umpire, went over to the dugout and said to Kevin Cash, what do you want to do here? And eventually Cash decided that it is worth having a look at. This replay review is powered by Samsung. Again, the call on the field is important, because if they can't decide whether or not, they don't overturn it. So is there enough evidence to overturn it? And I think all 3 of us, from what we've seen, would say no. It looked like he was in there just ahead of the tag. Keep an eye on the right hand. And it's a quick review. It goes the Blue Jays' way. That's a leadoff double for Travis.
Good hustle.
I don't think you can really rely on what you see and take another look at it. It's a terrific slide, and watch the right hand on the base before the glove gets down. We had a pickoff attempt on Brock Holt here yesterday. It looked like Holt was late getting to the bag, but they didn't have enough information to overturn it, and then the foul ball down in the corner. Once again, just not enough information to overturn the ruling on the field.
So now here is Michael Saunders. And a fly ball to left field. Matuk over near the line to make the catch, and at the least Saunders was looking to advance that runner to third, but he flies out to left and cannot move Travis.
Yeah, anyway, hold the ball if you have to, bunt if you have to. They had him in the shift, and he had the whole left side of the infield. If he wanted to just drop a bunt down in a 0-0 game in a pennant race, you got to find a way to move that guy to third base.
You're in the 6th inning, running out of time.
Now it's Encarnacion, a walk and a pop-up. Boy, that 90 feet would have been huge right there. Encarnacion will try to render it a moot point if he can do something dramatic.
Remember how they pitched him after Luke Maile went out there to talk to him in his last at bat? Remember, there was a base open, and they started throwing fastballs inside to Eblin. He ended up popping up to the second baseman.
Fell behind 3-0 to start the at-bat.
1-0. And it's a high slider, not really where Odorizzi wanted it, but he gets a called strike.
Yeah, that was a mistake. And you'll hear pitchers after the game, well, I only made a couple of mistakes. That was a mistake. He wanted to go down and away with it.
The check of the runner. And the 1-1, a swing and a ground ball to short. Heading to third is Travis. But Odorizzi, Encarnacion is retired by Franklin onto Miller. So 2 down and a runner at third. Now, had Saunders advanced the runner, if Travis is at third, the infield is in. That ground ball doesn't move him. So that's hard to replay the inning like that. But if you look at it that way, it's the same end result.
Well, it could change the mindset of the hitter.
Right.
You know, the infield comes in, and all of a sudden confidence is up. Now the Blue Jays need a 2-out hit.
Jose Bautista has struck out and grounded out. And he drills one to left field. Did he get enough? Yes! Home run, Bautista. And it's 2-1.
Jose Bautista hasn't had a lot of success against Jake Odorizzi in his career, and he picked a great time to touch him up. I think he had an inkling that he was trying to go inside against him, and he was waiting for that one.
First home run for Bautista since August the 31st in Baltimore. And it is a huge home run for the Blue Jays as they are now up 2-0 here in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, Bautista's been the man for this team ever since he came here and became an everyday player. And right there, he delivered a huge hit, a 2-out, 2-run home run in a scoreless game.
First time he touched him up, Odorizzi, for a home run. He came into this game 2 for 22 against Jake. So he was due. What a piece of hitting.
Russell Martin.
Jose looking for the ball inside. He gets it and launches it to left field. Blue Jays were searching for a big hit.
31st career home run for Bautista against Tampa Bay. Couldn't have come at a better time.
Martin takes it just off the outside corner, 2-2. The Red Sox up 7-2 on Baltimore in the 4th. The Yankees trailing the Dodgers 6-1 in the 4th. The Blue Jays now leading 2-0 here, bottom 6. And that's the inning. But it's a productive one. The Blue Jays break through on the 18th home run of the season from Jose Bautista. A 2-out, 2-run shot to left. 2-0 Blue Jays. Telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Now the hustle double by Travis, and 2 outs later the 2-run homer by Bautista, and it's 2-0 Blue Jays. Going to the top of the 7th inning in support of an extremely effective, to say the least, Francisco Liriano. He'll face the 3, 4, 5 hitters. This is Evan Longoria hooking one down the left field line, and it is a fair ball and a home run for Longoria. Number 32 on the season, and 1 pitch into the 7th. The Rays have cut the deficit in half.
Just the 2nd hit of the game given up by Liriano, and Longoria, Dan, you mentioned it earlier, what a season he's put together. Home run number 32, and that's his 6th hit against Liriano, his first career home run against the left-hander. But that's the 100th home run Tampa Bay has hit on the road this season. They hit 10 solo home runs in the 4 games against the Yankees, and Longoria has got them immediately right back in this game.
That is one off his career high of 33. He didn't waste any time, did he? Swinging at the first pitch again.
And that's going to activate the bullpen for the Blue Jays, as now Miller sends a high drive to deep center. Pilar's running out of room, and the game is tied. Back-to-back home runs for the Rays to lead off the 7th.
Well, this Rays team went out to beef up the offense, and they've really improved their ability to hit home runs. 28 home runs now for Brad Miller, the most he'd hit before this season. 11. Liriano has now allowed 2 home runs in this game, 6 since joining the Blue Jays, but back-to-back home runs for Tampa Bay, and we are tied.
Wow, that was quick, wasn't it? Longoria with his 20th home run to left field, and then a couple pitches later to dead center field by Miller. Right down the line. You're hoping this ball hooks foul, but it just sneaks over the fence, and it just sneaks in the foul line, and then the center field. This ball just kept carrying, and Liriano, who had been just about perfect through 6 innings, first 2 batters here go back-to-back on him.
Joaquin Benoit, who has pitched each of the last 2 games, is now up. He's the 7th inning guy, and they might need him here in the 7th. John Gibbons watched Liriano throw 6 spectacular innings, but man, how quickly did that unravel here in the 7th. Here's Nick Franklin.
3rd time Tampa Bay has gone back-to-back with homers this season. The 2nd time they've done it against the Blue Jays.
Encarnacion may have a play. He does. What a nice catch over near the seats.
Good. Put a star by that one. When you're working quickly, you're throwing a lot of strikes. The infielders and the outfielders, your defenders, are on their toes, and Edwin's very determined. I'm going to catch this ball. Finds the stands, finds the baseball. 1 down.
He's done a nice job when he's been given the opportunity to play first, and now here comes John Gibbons. That's going to be all. He's going to pull Liriano after 6 1/3. 72 pitches, no sign of the trouble until this inning. He was great through 6, hanging his head a little bit the way things ended for him here in the 7th, and Benoit's coming into the game. Nice ovation for Liriano. It's a tie game, though, as Benoit comes in from the bullpen. Spectacular innings for Liriano, but then back-to-back home runs to open up the 7th. He gets an out, comes out after just 72 pitches. Certainly gives the Blue Jays something to think about going forward, but the lead is gone in this game.
Yeah, it evaporated in a hurry in a span of 2 pitches. Evan Longoria and Brad Miller went back-to-back, and now Joaquin Benoit, who pitched in yesterday's game and gave up the 3-run home run to David Ortiz in the 6th, is back out there tonight.
And he will get a left-hander who's going to come off the bench. Some more power for the Rays.
Corey Dickerson will pinch hit for Mikey Matu. Dickerson acquired in an offseason deal with Colorado, is As you guys mentioned, he's got some pop, 19 home runs. This is the first time this season with Toronto or Seattle that Joaquin Benoit has pitched on 3 consecutive days. Now, he only threw 12 pitches on Saturday. He only threw 11 pitches yesterday when he was touched up for the home run by David Ortiz.
John Gibbons goes to his bullpen, and the way that Liriano was throwing, the only thing that makes sense is the last time he was on the mound, his back acted up, and he threw 2 great innings against New York and then came out, and we were doing that game also. And we said, why are they taking him out? We found out later on that his back had tightened up on him in that game. That's the only thing I can think of why he's not still in the ballgame.
In that game in New York, he showed no signs of dealing with back issues, and that's why I was so curious he came out of the game. And kind of the same situation here tonight. He was terrific.
1-2 the count on Dickerson. Tie game here in the 7th. Blue Jays losers of 7 of their last 9, and just 7-9 against Tampa Bay on the season. Got swept here in May. Only home sweep they have suffered this year. 1-2 chopper to short. Big bounce for Tulowitzki. 2 down.
Well, you mentioned that sweep at the hands of the Rays right here. The Blue Jays were outscored 31-7 in that pregame sweep by Tampa Bay. And another thing that's happened here tonight, no score until Bautista hit the 2-run home run. And then 2 more home runs for Tampa Bay. We're tied at 2. It's the 35th straight game between these 2 teams in which somebody has hit a home run.
That is a 3rd longest streak between 2 teams. Active streaks.
Here's Steven Souza Jr., another guy with some power. 16 home runs on the season. He has struck out and walked tonight. And chases a very good slider down and away, and it's 0-1. He was in swing mode on that one.
Yeah, I think that's Benoit, the veteran, knew that. Russell Martin knew that, so they spun him a slider.
Blue Jays get 2 in the bottom of the 6th on a Bautista home run. The Rays come back with Longoria and Miller going back-to-back here in the 7th to tie it. Red Sox still leading the Orioles 7-2. And the Yankees, as we mentioned, they are trailing the Dodgers. Now 8-2 Boston over Baltimore, top of the 5th. The Yankees are trailing the Dodgers 6-1, top 5. Tigers are trailing Minnesota 2-1 in the 5th. The Royals are losing as well. They're down 6-3 to Oakland. And Houston's losing as well, down 2-0 to Texas. So the Blue Jays could get some help on various fronts, but they got to help themselves here.
Souza's showing some patience. He's only walked 27 times this year to go along with 156 strikeouts. Got to make a pitch right here. Don't want to have it go to 3-2.
Did not get the call. You could see Benoit taking a couple of steps toward the third base dugout, but it is called just outside.
Wow, tough pitch to take with 2 strikes. Got to throw a better one now.
Foul back.
I think if they throw anything but a fastball right here, Souza will swing at it. I think he is anxious to do some damage here. They've got him in a swing mindset, so throw him a breaking ball, throw him a splitter. I think he'll chase a pitch right here on this full count pitch.
Throw him the same pitch you threw for strike 1. Looks like fastball coming in, and it just slides away from him.
On the appeal, he did not go, and it's ball 4.
Save during the plumbing, heating, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
So the Rays have a base runner with 2 down. They've tied the game at 2 here in the 7th inning, and the batter will be Richie Schaefer.
Remember last time Souza walked with 2 outs, he was trying to steal early in the count. He's got the big lead over there.
Not going, and Schaefer takes high ball 1. John Gibbons is asking Joaquin Benoit for just 1 more out. He came on with 1 out in the inning. He got Dickerson to ground out. That he walks Souza on a full count pitch. Now dealing with Schaefer. Ground ball down to third, and it eats up Barney and bounces into left field. And Souza's coming around to third.
That ball had a lot of topspin on it, and Barney got in front of it, but it kicked up, hit off his glove, and shot into left field.
Normally short-handed when he's in the field. He's right there. It's like making a commitment. I got to get in front of this ball and block it. But it takes a wicked hop on him. And they haven't ruled just yet.
It looks like it's been scored a base hit.
Yeah, it's the 4th hit. I don't agree with that call at all, and I don't think Darwin Barney would either.
No. You can see him tapping his chest, giving Benoit the universal "my bad" sign. Either way, the inning continues, and here's Luke Maile looking for a chance to give the Rays the lead here in the 7th. Maile's 0 for 2. Chases the slider. Benoit's had very good success with that slider. Now the atmosphere changed drastically and quickly between when Bautista homered at the bottom of the 6th, and then things started going south for the Blue Jays here in the top of the 7th. Another slider, another swing and a miss.
Same thing happened yesterday after the Tulowitzki home run. The Red Sox came right back and took the lead. There's Brett Cecil starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays.
And the Blue Jays took the lead again, and then it was the Ortiz home run that nailed the Blue Jays. Joaquin trying to get out of this mess.
Out in front 0-2. Miss low. And the first time all year that Benoit has pitched on 3 consecutive days. He's thrown 16 pitches tonight. A lot of tension, a lot of nervous excitement in the crowded Rogers Center right now here in the 7th inning. Every pitch meaning so much. To right field. Inning over. Good running catch by Saunders. So Benoit gets out of it, but the Rays have tied it as Longoria and Miller go back-to-back of Liriano, and it's a 2-2 game.
to live stream sports. All you need is an internet connection. Stream every Blue Jays game, the NHL, NBA, and more. Sign up today and get the first 7 days free. Already a Sportsnet TV customer? Good news, you already get Sportsnet Now included for free. Visit sportsnet.ca/now to the home half of the 7th. And Dan.
Corey Dickerson stays in the game in left field for the Rays as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and Jake Odorizzi will face Troy Tulowitzki to lead it off. First pitch swinging and a ground ball to the shortstop Franklin, and just like that, bit of a high throw, but Miller down on the bag in time. 1 down. By the way, a scoring change. It's now been ruled an error on Darwin Barney.
And that's the right call. You know, that ball is right at him, and all you have to do is ask the ball player. And from Darwin's reaction, Buck, he said, I should have caught that ball.
Yeah, it was a routine ground ball, shot to the third baseman, and Darwin acknowledged that he should have caught it.
Here's Kevin Pillar. Pillar has doubled and grounded out. First pitch swinging, fly ball to right field. Souza there, and quickly 2 down.
The all-new 2017 Ridgeline, our newest vehicle and their newest fan. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Opening game of a 3-game series between the Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays. And once again, the Rays are giving the Blue Jays all they can handle. Tampa Bay's got a winning record against the Jays this year. 9-7 on the season. As Melvin Upton Jr. steps in for his 3rd at bat, he is struck out and grounded out.
Tampa Bay's played much better in the second half of the season, and Kevin Cash in his 2nd year as the manager has made some adjustments. And you'll remember they sent Tim Beckham Jr. down to minors after not hustling on the base paths. He made some routine mistakes, and they sent him back to the minor leagues. The Rays were swept 9 times in the first half of the season. They have not been swept in the second half. One of 3 teams in all of baseball that haven't been swept in a series. The Dodgers, the Cardinals, and the Rays.
3-0 and a fastball in for a strike.
It was close yesterday. They had lost the first few games to the Yankees, and then they beat New York yesterday to avoid a sweep.
Last 2 series they've won the final game to keep that streak intact.
Chopper up the middle, but with the shift on, no chance for Upton there. And that's a quick inning for the Blue Jays. We're at the end of 7. It remains the Rays 2 and the Blue Jays 2. To the 8th, Jason Grilli will be the new pitcher for the Blue Jays. Down to Hazel May.
Dan, earlier this week, pitching coach Pete Walker told me that bats tend to get a little slower at this time of the year, so elevating the fastball, which could get a little dangerous, could also work for a pitcher. Jason Gurley has had a lot of success with that pitch. He told me earlier that changing eye level is an important part of his game. The high fastball is what makes his slider a much more effective pitch, so we'll keep an eye for that. Dan.
Hey, so thank you. Well, he's a critically important member of that Blue Jays bullpen and has been from the moment he arrived in the trade with Atlanta.
Yeah, he went through a little bit of a rough patch lately, but he bounced back in his last outing. Threw the ball well on Saturday. He gave up one base runner. It was in the air, and that was it. He got a strikeout, struck out Xander Bogaerts. So he was able to get Pedroia Bogaerts and then got Mookie Betts to end the 8th inning.
He'll face the top of the Rays lineup, including Blue Jay killer Logan Forsythe, who is 1 for 3 tonight, but has 24 hits and 54 at bats against the Jays this season. He'll be followed by Kiermaier and Longoria. And the big sweeping breaking ball misses outside.
Forsythe has had kind of a breakthrough for his career since coming to Tampa Bay. Not only has he hit well against the Blue Jays this season, but he's hit .317 against the American League East. I mean, and we all know how tough the pitching is in the East, but he's done a great job for Tampa Bay, filling a very big hole in that leadoff spot.
A little bit high with a fastball. 2 balls and a strike on Forsythe.
He was just one of those guys just think about, well, he's a nice player. He's a fill-in player. He came over from San Diego and really blossomed since coming to the Rays. This is his 3rd season in Tampa Bay.
How many times have you seen that, though? A guy who comes from a team, I don't know that much about him. They go to a team and he gets a chance to play every day without the pressures of, I got to hit to stay in the lineup. Just go out there and play, and all of a sudden you blossom.
He had a lot of problems in San Diego with his feet. He had plantar fasciitis. He had a couple of foot fractures, and that really slowed him down.
Really got in on his hands just a bit and gets a lazy fly ball to right field for the first out. Boy, a lot of nervous fans in this ballpark and across the country watching this team with some of those crazy games against the Boston Red Sox. A lot of nail biting going on right now amongst Blue Jays Nation.
But you know what? It's been a long time since baseball has meant anything in September. Of course, we had a great run last year in September, but the division wasn't as tough as it is this year. So now everybody is even. I think you could take a blanket and throw it over those top 4 teams. Anybody can come out of it.
Do you know the last time a division had 4 teams this close, this late, or in the month of September? Anytime in September was 1989. The National League East had 4 teams as close as the American League East has right now. It's been 27 years since a division was this close at the top.
And there's a really good chance that it's going to stay close because they're going to be playing each other all month.
Yeah, the Blue Jays won the division last year by 6 games, and that's not going to be the case this season. The Dodgers are in New York, as we mentioned. Blue Jays are playing Tampa Bay. Baltimore's in Boston, and it's going to be like that the rest of the way.
Blue Jays had a big September last year. 18 wins in the month of September.
What's wrong with that pitch? Russell Martin expected it to be called a strike and then hesitated when he heard a ball.
Now he pretends to throw a pebble away so he can turn his body halfway and have a talk with a home plate umpire.
Catchers do that?
1-1 the count on Kevin Kiermaier, who's 0 for 3. And a high fly ball to center field. Pilar started in, now drifting back. Out number 2. But now Grilli has to face Evan Longoria. Longoria homered his last time up. That was on the first pitch of the 7th inning. Thrown by Liriano, who had been magnificent through 6. Longoria hooked it just fair down the line. Longoria is 2 for 3 in his career against Grilli. Both of those hits singles. You can hear the grunt from Grilli as he muscles up on the fastball, but he misses up and away, ball 1, as Brad Boxberger has been up for a while now in the Rays bullpen. Their former closer, but a guy who's missed most of the season with injuries. Blue Jays might like to have a look at somebody else, given the way that Odorizzi has pitched tonight. High again.
Longoria is a very good low ball hitter, and both Martin and Grilli understand that. And he's one of those guys that can hook that low pitch, hit it out of the ballpark, as we saw in his last at bat.
He's got some power to right field too now. And I think that's why you see the outfielder, especially the center fielder and the right fielder, playing a couple of extra steps back. Look at how deep Kevin Pillar is in center field.
Challenged him and he got it by him. 2-1.
That's only a couple of steps, it seems like, for Pillar from the warning track out in center field.
We have not seen Kevin Pillar play that deep.
Nope.
Right there for a strike. 2-2. Really hoping he's one pitch away from a lot of emotion as he comes off the mound, both for him and for the crowd here at Rogers Center. But it's a dangerous man at the plate. Ground ball to third. Barney's got it. Inning over. Going bottom 8, tied at 2. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn once again in the Samsung broadcast studio. Tampa Bay starter Jake Odorizzi, the 5th time he has faced the Blue Jays this year, and other than the Bautista home run, they didn't do any damage against him. 7 innings, just 2 runs allowed.
He did a great job of pitching to both sides of the plate with his fastball. He walked just one batter. That came with 2 outs in the first inning, and he struck out 4, and he will end up with another no decision.
And a tough customer, Tabby, on the mound right now for the Rays.
It's the 8th inning, so it's their setup man. This is Brad Boxberger, who was their closer last year, but some injuries set him back out his season off to a slow start. He started on the disabled list, but he's starting to come on strong. 3-0 with a 265 earned run average. He can strike batters out. He's got a great fastball, a little bit of a wrinkle slider, and an outstanding changeup. Not a lot of success for the righties or the lefties against Boxberger so far this year.
Wow, we've taken one of theirs, they say up here, huh?
And you can come back and get him.
That's funny. Missed his flight last night. He's still stuck here. Ezekiel Carrera is going to pinch hit for Darwin Barney to lead off the bottom of the 8th. Deep into the corner. It is gone!
It's his first pinch hit of the season. A first pitch pinch hit home run, his 5th homer of the season. Everybody's got to step up in September, and Zeke just did his part.
All right, who saw that coming? We were hoping to get on base and maybe we could manufacture a run, and Zeke said, I'm doing it all by myself. I'm acting like Edwin Encarnacion and putting the Blue Jays ahead.
Now Devin Travis, the batter. Look at the emotion in the dugout after the pinch hit home run by Ezekiel Carrera, which has given the Blue Jays a 3-2 lead.
Carrera's always the guy on the bench with the little parrot on his arm.
Yes, that's right.
For Encarnacion. Maybe he could emulate Double E.
Travis is 1 for 3.
Navarro was trying to get him to take a curtain call.
What a moment for Ezekiel Carrera. Huh?
First pinch hit of the season is a go-ahead home run. He's now 1 for 6, 1 for 7 coming off the bench.
Ground ball to short. Going to be a tough play, and Travis beats it out.
Well, Dan, you made a great point about the Blue Jays don't care who comes into the game as long as Odorizzi is out. They couldn't get anything going against Odorizzi after the Bautista home run. He pitched a strong game. Just another look, and you get Boxberger, get a home run, and now an infield hit.
Yeah, maybe things are starting to change for the Blue Jays. They catch a break there. Ball wasn't hit that hard by Travis, and Franklin playing shortstop tonight because the regular shortstop is out. Matt Duffy got himself a little tangled up on there and just couldn't get it up on the throw.
The Rays have used 6 different starting shortstops as Roberto Osuna starts to crank it up.
Well, September baseball is pretty fun sometimes, isn't it? Exciting, nerve-wracking. Even the closer's biting his nails in the bullpen right now as he takes a breather between throws. Here's Michael Saunders, 1 for 3. He doubled in the 3rd inning. Little squibber out in front of the plate, and it'll act like a bunt as Travis moves up to second.
Well, let's take a look at that home run one more time. How about this? This ball slicing and slicing. It just gets over the wall and it just stays fair.
Boxberger appearing in his 19th game of the season. This is just the 2nd home run he's surrendered. And Carrera, his 5th homer of the season, has put the Jays out in front here in the 8th.
Here's Encarnacion, a runner at second, 1 down, 3-2 Jays, bottom 8. First pinch hit home run for the Blue Jays since Carrera hit one in July of last year at Seattle. Low ball 1. Looked like Encarnacion wanted to look at a pitch right there. Was in take mode all the way. He's still breathing heavy. Can't blame him. Navarro's still upset he didn't go out for a curtain call. A strike, 1-1. Looking ahead to the top of the 9th inning, the Rays will bring up 4, 5, and 6. Miller, Franklin, and Dickerson. Miller and Dickerson with a lot of power.
Yeah,
Miller's already homered in this game.
They're never out of the game because they hit their share of home runs. So the Blue Jays need an add-on run right here. Edwin thought he should have hit this one. I asked Brooke Jacoby today why Edwin is such a good RBI man. He says, you know what? He stays in the middle of the field. He takes what the pitchers give you, and he has a sense about him what the pitchers are trying to do to him. That last swing looked like he was sitting on a changeup.
1-2. Pulled foul.
So when you do your homework and you get in there and you have an idea what a guy's going to try and do to you, you have a game plan when you get up to the plate. That would look like he was sitting on a changeup, got it, fouled it off, unfortunately.
There's his biggest fan, the crowd here at Rogers Center. 39 home runs, 115 RBIs at 115, leads the American League. Let's go back after the home run. Carrera's excited, Encarnacion's excited, Stroman, no big surprise, he's excited. They are all fired up. What a huge hit that was.
Carrera's normally on the other end of those celebrations when Edwin comes into the dugout. As Pat mentioned, he's always carrying that parrot on his arm once Edwin comes back after hitting a home run. But this is what September baseball's all about. You never know who's going to be an instant hero.
And you never know when a hit like that could generate some momentum. Watch out.
You know, and it's interesting, John Gibbons could have chosen Smoke. He could have chosen Navarro. He could have left Barney, but he made the right choice. It worked out.
Well, it's a right choice for a bunch of reasons. He can bunt for a base hit. He's got speed once he gets on. He can go first to third. If you sacrifice bunt, he's got good speed. There were a lot of reasons to send Carrera up to lead off the inning. Boxberger's gotten away with some pitches here in this at bat. Everything's right center cut. Edwin looks like he's on everything he's offered at.
You can see him thinking his way through this at bat.
Blue Jays have one run. They've got the lead back, but they'd love a little more insurance here in the bottom of the eighth. 2-2. Down and away, full count. Jose Bautista, who has driven in the first 2 runs tonight for the Blue Jays on his 18th home run of the season, looms on deck. Fly ball well struck to right field. Backpedaling Souza will make the catch for the second out. Tagging and heading to third is Travis. Let's get an update from Jamie. Their offense right now is a force to be reckoned with, to say the least, and the Orioles are finding that out the hard way. Again, if you're the Blue Jays and you win, you're going to gain on somebody. Somebody's going to lose. Looks like it'll be Baltimore tonight. There is good news to be had as long as the Blue Jays take care of business against the Rays. Bautista looking to tack on. Good stop there by Maile.
Just another note on the Carrera pinch hit home run. He's the first Blue Jay to hit a go-ahead pinch hit home run since Colby Rasmus on September 4th, 2014, when he hit a pinch hit walk-off home run. That was also against the Rays.
Big cut, and it's 1-1 on Bautista.
Elevated fastball one more time. He jumped all over that his last time up to hit a home run. Defensive strategy.
1-2. Everybody on the edge of their seat. 3-2 Blue Jays, bottom 8. Travis at third, 2 down. And that's the inning. We'll go to the 9th, and they'll do so with the Blue Jays leading 3-2. The home run by Carrera has given the Jays the lead, and it's time for Roberto Osuna. brought to you by the all-new Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Well, if you were with us 5 minutes ago, you got a chance to see it. How about Ezekiel Carrera coming off the bench and scraping one over the wall in left field, slicing and gone, and gives the Blue Jays the lead with tonight's drive of the game as he gets to circle the bases with what looks like and hopefully a game-winning home run, and Ezekiel Carrera is going to stay in the ballgame.
He is in right field. Michael Saunders is out of the game, and Ryan Goins is now at third base after Barney was lifted for the pinch hitter Carrera. And of course on the mound for the Blue Jays is their closer Roberto Osuna, looking for his 33rd save of the season. He'll face Brad Miller, Nick Franklin, and Corey Dickerson here in the ninth for Tampa Bay.
Osuna picked up that save on Saturday.
First pitch swinging, ground ball to first. Encarnacion to Osuna covering, one down. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Sportsnet Central, here are Ken and Ivanka. All right, guys, thank you very much. Yeah, Boston all over Baltimore right now. The Yankees are losing as well. One down here in the ninth. The Blue Jays 2 outs away from victory as Franklin steps in and takes right at the knees for a strike. Franklin tonight is 0 for 3. He is hitting .290 on the season, has 6 home runs. Oh, and 2. Well, you just can't say enough about a guy this young doing a job this big over the last 2 years, breaking into the major leagues and becoming a closer almost immediately.
Well, he's so mature for his age. He's grown up around the game. He's had family members play the game a long time. He understands who he is and what he can do. And he always seems to try to improve. We've seen him improve his slider. We've seen him improve his changeup. Yeah, he'll get beat every now and then, but he doesn't let it bother him.
He got beat in Cleveland on his second and third pitches, and we haven't seen him make those mistakes since.
Fastball hit in the air to left field. Upton with room. 2 down. Corey Dickerson will be the batter, his second at bat of the night, and again a guy with power.
This is when you go back to your scouting reports and you say, okay, how can I get this guy out? Looks to be a very good low ball hitter. Maybe you go upstairs with that fastball.
On their feet at Rogers Center. 2 down in the ninth inning. Swing and a miss. 0-1. The Blue Jays took the lead. It disappeared almost instantly. They got it back in the bottom of the 8th, and Osuna's trying to preserve it here in the top of the 9th. Just missed low.
He's reaching back. Look at that, 99 miles an hour, giving it everything he's got.
Yeah, there's no reason to throw anything other than that right now. Your percentages of locating that fastball are much better. He can run it upstairs to Dickerson. He can overmatch him with it up.
And a base hit into center field. Dickerson will keep the game alive with a 2-out single.
He got to that fastball. You got to give him credit. Osuna came right back with the heater, and he's able to get to it. Osuna used that hesitation that time, but it didn't create any problems for Dickerson. The good thing about it, it's a 2-out single.
Yeah, it stayed in the ballpark. Could have gone up higher. That was about belt high. Still not out of the woods. You got a guy with some power.
Steven Souza Jr. 0 for 6 in his career against Osuna, including 4 strikeouts, and that's about as good a pitch as you can make right there.
I'm not going to do anything with that pitch.
And another one. 0-2. Slider misses down and away. Boy, he's throwing hard. Slider at 91.
He hasn't pitched an awful lot lately because the Blue Jays haven't had many save opportunities, so he should be well rested and strong.
A strike away. Man, pretty good rip at that pitch.
98 and up. Almost like he was looking for it.
Yeah, you want to throw the fastball down and away. You throw the same pitch you threw in the first 2 pitches, you should be able to retire Souza.
A nervous ninth at Rogers Center. Osuna shakes off Martin once, now nods in agreement. 1-2. Got him. No, in and out of the glove. Osuna thinks it's over, but it's not.
So did the outfielders. They started coming in. It was a foul tip. And it looked like Russell had it momentarily.
And then it dropped. Man, oh man. Now everybody's got to reset. Osuna turned his back, looked up to the sky, thought it was over. Martin thought he had it in his glove, and he did for a moment. Then it hit the umpire and dropped behind him. Man. Now you got to regroup if you're Osuna. You thought the game was over. Two and two.
This is really an interesting situation. Osuna now taking a little bit extra time to regroup. He thought he had Souza struck out and turned around to start his post-game celebration, and now he's in a 2-2 situation to Souza.
35,000 plus on their feet at Rogers Center. And a drive to center field. Pilar has it. Now it's over. He can exhale, and the Blue Jays win a crucial ball game.
I tell you what, Roberto Osuna, for a youngster, he's got ice water in his veins. He had a sheepish smile once Pilar ran that ball down. And now the 2 teams have gotten on the bench, and Souza had something to say to somebody, and I don't know what that's all about. But you can see both teams filing onto the field at the end of this game. Souza is upset by something, and I don't know what it is, obviously.
Edwin Encarnacion's trying to get the Blue Jays off the field. Chris Archer is trying to keep Souza away from the middle of the scrum. Souza's talking to Russell Martin, and whatever it is, it looks like they're going to work it out. And Souza may have just said, my bad, I misunderstood something, and now they're going to leave the field peacefully. That's good news. And most importantly, the Blue Jays pick up a huge win here against the Rays.
Grilli gets the win. Osuna gets the save. And let's not forget about the start of Liriano. He was terrific to set the positive tone. Carrera with the pinch hit home run, and it was a win that the Blue Jays really needed.
Liriano gets him into the 7th inning. There's Carrera, smiles all the way around. You want emotion in September? You got it, baby. There was a lot of emotion tonight.
And there's another one coming at you tomorrow night from Rogers Center. Time now for Sportsnet Central. They'll tell you all about this ball game and everything else going on around the majors. Let's go back to the studio with Ken and Ivanka.